Good morning, everyone. So it's Saturday morning here in the Sable, just after 11 o'clock in the morning, and that's 10 o'clock UTC. So we'll go through a tracker update, give you the positions, and we'll explain the situation with Jean-Luc and the time penalty and how he's extended back across the wrong side of the line. So first off, we'll come to the back of the fleet with Tapio. He's just been impacted by a little bit of these strong headwinds from northeast. He did actually manage to get north. We have opened the zone for him if he needed it, but this system has not come across as far as we thought it may over to the east, and he's now got winds, 30 knots, 35, and he's on port tack and heading south, or southeast. So we'll just see how it goes in the next day or two. Moving forward, he's quite happy at the moment, by the way. He's quite happy, but it's still going to maintain that solid north-northeasterly airflow, continue pushing him down a little bit, but that's 24 hours ahead. And if we go through into the 7th, it starts to disappear, lighten off. It's still a northerly, but he'll be back underway again. So anyway, we made that decision to open the zone for him. It hasn't eventuated. We'll just see how he feels and where he ends up. He could end up down here yet. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. And then he's still got a fair way to go. He's still got something like 2,150 miles to Cape Horn, and the weather preceding that all looks pretty favourable. So looks as if he's got reasonably good westerlies going through to the 8th, through to the 9th. He's got a bit of a hole there. He'll probably be down here. It may be a chance for him to have a look under the hull again of these barnacles, but we'll just wait and see. By then he's over here. He's going to get some headwinds by the look of it, maybe coming through. So no big storms for now, and everything seems reasonably settled. So that's Tapio. Let's look at Istvan here. He's been making good time. He's got plenty of water now. That's certainly making him pretty happy. And his tone and attitude changed once he got around Cape Horn. This is his following breezes here, currently making 6 knots, pretty much on course. He's happy with that. We'll push it forward a day. We've got no strange messages from him, so he's making good times. That'll just kick him along further, heading up on the inside past the Falklands now. Going through to the 7th. This is where it swings around pretty quickly. Now, when he gets there, it's on the nose. Not sure which way he goes. I'm assuming he'll go out on port, so he'll be heading out this way a little bit. And then the next day, it swung around really quickly. So it's only there for about 12 hours, and then he's got more favourable breezes to get him north. So he's going to take the inside route, by the look of it. Well, when I say inside, I don't think he's going to go out really wide. He's got good breezes there just to keep going up north. So that's through to the 9th again there. Yep, still pretty solid. He'll be up here by then, even though it gets very unstable. You can see what's happening. Big sort of potholes all over the place, but at least there's no major headwinds forecast. This is all following stuff. He's going to get a real kick here. That's going to take him right through really high, maybe up into the trades when the rest of it settles down. On the 11th, again, really good looking stuff for Istvan, that's for sure. He's going to make some good times. And then, of course, he starts to, as he gets higher, I don't know how high he'll get. Yeah, he could be up here. We've got a high coming across in the middle of the South Atlantic, and that's going to give him some headwinds, very similar to what you saw Jean-Luc experience previously. So anyway, for the next week, it looks like he's doing pretty well. So now we'll just have a look at, just have a look here at Uku. That's his real-time weather now, and he's doing okay, making 5.3 knots. Quite happy with that. Everything's looking pretty consistent, so give him a day forward. He's running out of breeze and might not be going anywhere in a hurry. So take it through to the 7th. Got the breeze again, but it's swinging on the nose. He'll probably ride a bit of that over the side. This is where the next challenges come for Uku. He's high enough to get that transition zone of headwinds before he gets into the trades. So by then he'll be up here somewhere. If we just decrease the size of the map, you'll see here's the trades up here, the easterlies. This is the challenging zone to get through, and Uku will get a reasonable ride. By the 8th, he'll be up here somewhere. And then let's see what he gets, the 9th. Yeah, all a bit unstable. This is the risk. You can never quite keep a sailor happy in these parts. This is very, basically variable. So, yeah, it's got some challenges ahead. There'll be a bit of everything. It's going to be a struggle to get up to these trades, but it was for Jean-Luc and Mark as well. So, but he's generally out of the storm zone. He's happy with that. So, all looking pretty reasonable. Now, Mark, we come across here. We'll just pick it up and zoom it in a bit. Okay, Mark's definitely established now into the northeasterly trades. He's trying to hold high because he probably knows that when he gets up around the corner, he doesn't want to be too far across the side. And we can pretty well say, if I go forward every day, northeasterly trades, lightening off a bit there, but filling in again. Interestingly, you can see where Jean-Luc is now. He's in a quiet patch, but 10, that's the 10th, so 5 days out, you can see the trades have established themselves. This is what I thought you'd actually get when, you know, this sort of penalty zone was happening, but Jean-Luc's been quite lucky in a way because it's gone light. But anyway, so Mark will be consistently moving ahead. He's doing 6.3 knots at the moment, and I'd expect to see that average hold all the way through the trades for him, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, Jean-Luc, this was a real surprise for us. Basically, I'll just zoom this right in so you can see what goes on here. Or you can see the weather there. It's very light winds. He's sailing at about he's saying 3.5 knots at the moment. I think this speed that you've got on this port tack, he's pushing a current, as we've now discovered, of between about 8.8 of a knot, maybe even a knot. So he's probably sailing boat speed 3.5 knots, 4.5 knots at the moment. But he's saying, it's the tracker's saying 3.5 knots. Now, if we just build this up really big here, so if I can see, let's see. In fact, I'll take the wind off now, and you can see the track a bit easier. Where we go here, we'll just go satellite. It should go black. Come on, it's not doing it. Oop, why is it not doing that? Okay, let's go no overlay. There it is. Okay, this just highlights, I'll just zoom this in, exactly how everything's proceeded with Jean-Luc. This is obviously Jean-Luc's track coming up. What we did is we estimated the time that he would get to, this is the 20th degree of latitude here. We estimated a time that he would cross the latitude, and it had to sync in with the tracker because we get positions every hour. So we gave him a time of 10 minutes past the hour of midnight into January the 5th, and that's his turn point there. So at that point, just to explain this, Jean-Luc doesn't even need to know where he is. He doesn't have to have an accurate position fixed by satellite by sextant. So it doesn't matter where he is at that point because it starts from the vicinity of 20 degrees north. And at that time, exactly 10 minutes past midnight, that's a position that he has to now go south of. And for every hour he is south of this position, he is serving his time. So it's pretty simple. What you do then as a sailor, you say, right, I've got to sail south. So you use your compass and you just start sailing south and you go clear. You also log your speed. And if you're doing 5 knots for 1 hour heading south, that means you're 5 nautical miles down here, whatever course you were, and you use DR positioning. You use very simple pilotage navigation. It's using course and speed. Obviously, then you've got to decide what sort of safety margin you want to allow away from the boundary, and the boundary to serve your time is as simple as a position line on your chart from the beginning position heading south. Right? So there's no navigation required to establish your position and even monitor your position. It's very basic navigation. So Jean-Luc took off on one tack down here, just running not parallel to it, but shallow. Then he went south. South-southeast, I'd say, got to this position and then decided to put a tack in. Now, what's caused the problem with the calculations is that when he tacked back this way, he came back to being close to where it would have been and then thought he'd tack away again, but there's a current here, which no one knew about, I didn't know about, Jean-Luc didn't know about, but Jean-Luc made a decision to maintain a very close position to this line for whatever reason, and that's actually taken him back across the line. So everything above this point, bearing in mind the start point is the turn there, right, so that's the count line. Anything north of that doesn't count in the penalty. The penalties have been decided 2 years before the start of the race. They're very clear. All the entrants have been explained the penalty box at their sailing briefings and how it works and where it applies and so on. So it's very simple, but in this occasion, unfortunately, Jean-Luc's been caught out with the current. He didn't believe it. He would not believe the fact that he was north of the line. He kept saying it's impossible, because we did notify him as soon as we were aware of that at 6 o'clock this morning. And now he's heading south, and I think you'll see him stay well clear of that position line there, serve the remaining time, and he's gone. It cost him about 3 hours. We calculated anyone can do this on the tracker. You can use your video replay. You can determine the exact time that he left this zone here and went north of it, and you can also determine the exact time that he penetrated south to go again. It's on the video replay there. You can speed it up, slow it down. It gives you a digital readout of the time. It's very accurate, and in fact that's why we pick, once you've come to the 20-degree north, it's not up to the entrant to, so we can check it. We say, okay, we'll give you a set time. And Jean-Luc specifically asked for a clarification of that, which we gave him, on numerous occasions on the phone. So he knew how the turn point would work at that specific time, and then he goes south. So it's just one of those things that happen, there's a current in there and it's caught Jean-Luc out. He didn't intend it, but we can't allow it. We have to manage the rules, and the rules are very clear. You must stay south of that line. So that's cost him an extra 3 hours. I don't know whether that'll be, who knows how that'll play out in terms of the scheme of things. But as I say, right now, if we go back to the weather, it's very light conditions. I don't know what the sea is, but I'd say the sea state's quite mild. Yeah, it's very low. That's a very low sea state, probably less than a metre, so hopefully it's not doing too much pressure on the boat, on port tack there, and in about another 14 hours or so he'll be on his way. So all will be back on track, and Jean-Luc will be looking forward to sailing towards Les Sables d'Olonne. So that's really a quick overview of how it all works, and we'll be back on today. We'll just go in and have a look at the projected weather for Jean-Luc in the next couple of days. We've got the wind there. So it's very light winds here at the moment, which fate dictates that works in Jean-Luc's favour. He would only be sailing at a few knots at the moment, so it's better than 6 knots, I suppose. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. So when he gets out of this, he'll have to decide on where he wants to go. If he continued on, it gets light. He wants to try to get to this zone here, because you can see this is not uncommon to have these sort of southeasterlies hooking around to be a southerly, depending on what systems are over here in the Atlantic. So he'll be keen to get over there. So 24 hours from now, he's got even lighter winds. So the light winds are coming down towards Jean-Luc. And then on the 7th, so the next day again, he's got this trap here. He can't go north because he's going to run out of wind. So probably the best thing to do is to keep tacking heading into the east, because the further over the east he can get in these light conditions, the better off he'll be. And he can go up to 40 miles to the east of the start point during the time that he's using up his penalty zone, the penalty box situation. So he still can be making meaningful distance to the east if that's what he decide to do. So over to the 8th, again, massive hole. There's not many places he can go there. It's going to be drifting. So he's got a natural barrier there. Right now, and again, so that's through to the 9th. There ain't much wind there, so we'll yet to see what will happen. This is a northeasterly, so he'll probably be still going to the east, right? So where he's going now is where he wants to go, and we go over to the 10th. It's all started to move. Now he's got headwinds again. By that stage, I'm not sure what he'll do. But anyway, that's 5 days in advance of the weather, and the systems may change. So just to give you a look up higher to see what's driving that. And this will be the challenge. It'll be the challenge for Mark as well. When he gets out of the northeasterly trades, you end up into new systems, and you've got to hope that a depression establishes here, like you see now. And then once you get into this, you get a kick north, and you can run up the back of this and get around to the finish line. So a lot will play out in terms of how quickly Jean-Luc can get into the next system and away. If he can make a break and get into a completely different system to Mark, that's an advantage for Jean-Luc. And, right now Mark's hammering the distance, and he will face the same challenges, but the tricky bit will be to see how far the distance compresses with Jean-Luc and mark before Jean-Luc can get clear into another system. So the race is still very much on, and we'll be back in about 3 hours or so with a question and answer session, try and answer all your questions and give you an update again, overview on what's going on. Thanks a lot. The GGR continues.